Wonders shall never end. International community is siding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's family to place what they call, or rather sue John Siho, who is the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court in Nigeria, and Injustice Binta Iyako, over the delay and murder of justice on the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because they murdered justice. You see why that zoo can never move forward? Because I have seen a lot of comments over this case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and the praises the so-called Binta Iyako is lavishing on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, how he is being stubborn and how he is being resilient, and one of the strongest opponents he has ever encountered in her career as a judge. So as it stands now, the international community is siding, or rather, they are assisting the family of Nnamdi Kanu to write petition against John Siho and Injustice Binta Iyako. And the punishment is that they are going to be banned from traveling abroad, even to cross to African countries. Because any ECOWAS country that accepts these two is going to have problem with the international community. It's part of the secret memo and the headline of this message. Another thing to let me shock you or break your bubble. Canada newly elected Prime Minister vows to work with the government of United States of Biafra. But the question there now is, can these people be trusted? The answer is no. I don't even believe them. They made it open. Do you know why? Because they need Nigerian government to come and woo them with some lucrative deal that will make them to turn their back on Biafra. We know all this politics. We know about all these games they are playing with the Africans and their mineral resources. So Canada, if you like, work with us. If you don't like, don't work with us. Coming on the social media to make it as open as anything means you are not serious. So we can't even take you serious. Let us read another one, Joe. Oh yeah, get out of my way. UK Prime Minister congratulates Canada's incoming Prime Minister Mark Carney. You can't ban public preaching, IPOB's lawyer tells Governor Soludo. This is not IPOB lawyer, this is ex-IPOB lawyers. Tension in Rivers as Fubara, lawmakers meet amid Creek threats. The Creeks don't rise up again. Militants, they say, if they venture to impeach Fubara, say the pipeline is not guaranteed. I've been expecting them to do this for a very long time, but it seems like they don't have the balls again. There's no any good commander again to lead them, because most of the commanders they have all been bought over. Where is what do they call it? Tompolo. Tompolo is counting billions and trillions of naira. That guy called Tompolo, that guy is a bastard trillionaire, not billionaire. Do you know how much this guy collects every month just to guide pipeline with his boys? Tantita. So who is going to lead them now? I mean, the Creek, the militants in the Creek who are busy showcasing an AK-47 rifle of how they are going to bomb the pipeline if Fubara is impeached. My dear, they have finished impeaching Fubara. Waiting remain a job for him to come out from office. Nothing like if we do. Get out. Anyway, my people, now we go to start this news. I beg, like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing for more interesting videos coming your way. I, Okulora, is here to serve you. Let this message go viral as we are moving forward. Kanu's family demands punishment for Justice Soho and Binta Iyako. The family of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has called for the punitive action against the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court and the Justice John Siho and the Injustice Binta Iyako, according to information. A firm that have international recognition is pushing to make sure that these two, or rather this duo, are being punished for their acts or the role they played in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. My dear, go to internet, or rather go to X. The message is domiciled there. Nigeria News reported that through the Chief Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun, Kanu's case was transferred to another judge in line with Nyako's recusal. But the question there now is, who is this judge that they are not making open? Who is this judge? In a statement on Sunday released by Kanu's lawyer, Aloye Jimako, the IPOB leaders family regretted that it required the Chief Justice involvement for Justice Seho and Justice Iyako to obey the court order. While we welcome the timely intervention of the Honorable Judge, or rather Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, in ensuring that the decade-long sham trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is duly assigned to a competent judge, untainted by bias or one that openly and unashamedly pander to tribal sentiments or exhibit the tendency to succumb to executive manipulation. We find it shocking that it required the involvement of the conscious public and that of the most senior judicial officer in Nigeria for Binta Iyako to obey her own order of recusal she made in her own court. It reads. But I ask, so let it not be that these people now will just, because the next person now they will assign this case to will be an Igbo man from Biafra land to go and murder the justice over Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I can tell you the truth. Don't be surprised that the next person to handle this case will be an Igbo man who have sworn to destroy the life of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the struggle. Since they don't want to make it open, if they assign this case to a Yoruba man, they will have made the name open. If they assign it to Hausa man or Fulani man, they have made it open. But why it is been keep a kind of secret now, only them know. I am sure that Naibo man will handle this case now, and you know what it means. It is a do or die affair. Anyway, they argue that Seho and Yago's alleged refusal to obey court orders deserve punitive action. In any same country that makes or rather takes adherence to the rule of law seriously, both Seho, John, and the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, and Binta Iyako, the presiding judge that made the recusal order, ought to be sanctioned for bringing the judicial into disruption. Is it not bizarre that a judge blatantly refused to obey an order of court? A chief judge that sought to set aside a valid court order by way of phantom memo, written note, and a presiding judge that blatantly refused to honor the order she enrolled in her own court have no business being on the bench, it stated. Kanu's family added that the trial of their son would expose corruption in judicial system. This matter has only just begun, and by the time this sham trial is finished, Nigeria judicial and their injudicious selective justice will be exposed for the world to see. It is inconceivable that the damage the Nigerian judicial is about to suffer will never be eradicated from the minds of the populace, it added. UK Prime Minister congratulates Canada's incoming Prime Minister Mark Carney. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer extended his congratulations to former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney on Monday following his selection by Canada's ruling party as the country's next leader. Congratulations to Mark J. Carney on his appointment as Canada's new Prime Minister. I look forward to working closely with him on shared international priorities, including in the G7, and to further deepen the UK-Canada relationship together, Starmer stated in a post on X. Nigeria News previously reported that Mark Carney emerged as the new leader of the Canada's ruling Liberal Party, positioning him to succeed Justin Trudeau as the nation's next Prime Minister. The official result released on Sunday confirmed his victory. Carney, 59, secured a decisive victory with 86% of the vote, defeating former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland in a contest that saw participation from nearly 152,000 party members. His leadership comes at a challenging time for Canada, which is engaged in a trade dispute with the United States under President Donald J. Trump, and is preparing for a general election. Kanye criticizes Trump's economic policies. Following his victory, Kanye delivered a strong message to party members, taking a direct swipe at Trump and accusing him of damaging Canada's economic stability. There is someone who is trying to weaken our economy, he said, drawing boos from the audience. He's attacking Canadian workers, families, and businesses. We can't let him succeed. Kanye stressed that his government would adapt bold measures to tackle the nation's economic and political hurdles. This won't be business as usual, he asserted. We will have to do things that we haven't imagined before, at speeds we didn't think possible. You can't ban a public preaching. IPOB's ex-lawyer tells Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. Human rights lawyer and ex-counsel to indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, has said the ban on public preaching announced by Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo was an infringement of people's religious freedom. This guy said, what did they call him? Ifeanyi Ejiofor. It's like, this guy is very stupid though. He's like a lawyer without brain. All this while, Soludo have been going left and right and center, banning traditional worshippers, banning them from all activities outside their own domain, arresting them left, right, and center. Nobody see this mumu to come and talk. Why is it that these people are always one-sided? Judgment is always what they face. For crying out loud, in the whole of the Igbo land, what they have is a freedom of worship. There's no any state will come out now and say this state now is a Christian state, this one is Muslim state, and this one is a traditional state. They are all coexist together. Oh, so now it pay you that because he said that any public gathering again, a public preaching will attach a fine of 500,000. But he didn't see where he said anybody who goes to the water to do anything is going to pay 20 million naira fine or 2 years imprisonment. Haven't you seen that? Oh, you cannot comment, right? Nigerian news reported that the Governor Soludo at Ochanja Market in Onitsha stopped a Christian from preaching, citing noise pollution. He told the preacher that his public evangelism in the market was against the law and attracts a fine of 500,000 naira. But the Ejiofor also condemned the 500,000 naira fine imposed as punishment for offenders of the ban. In a statement on Monday, ex-IPOB lawyer noted that Section 38, Subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended 2023, guaranteed the right to freedom of worship. While contesting the coexistence of such law in Anambra State, he stated that the wider implication of such ban would infringe on the rights of Christians to propagate their faith. Many may not even understand the extent of the restrictions that have been placed on their religious freedoms by this outright ban by the state governor. By that declaration, all manner of public preaching, including crusaders and outreaches that hitherto happened outside the church premises, have been criminalized under a yet-to-be-identified law, referenced by Governor Soludo. Rather than the outright ban, the governor should have talked about ways of regulating and moderating such public preachings to avoid the alleged noise pollution, which he purports to be the reason for the ban. Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo seems to be at his wit's end in tackling the myriad of serious and critical issues facing our dear state. According to him, how does the prevailing insecurity in Anambra State relate to peaceful gospel preachers engaged in evangelism? These individuals are mainly fulfilling their spiritual and biblical mandates, spreading the word of God and calling people to faith, he said. He demanded the governor that his policies must align with fairness, injustice, and respect for rights. He added that the ban on public preaching must be revisited. In a democratic society, policies must align with justice, fairness, and respect for rights. The ban on public preaching is a dangerous precedent that must be revisited. True leadership is about building, not suppressing, about securing, not silencing, he added. Last but not the least, tension in Rivers as Fubara lawmakers meet amid Creek threats. Rising threats from militant groups in the creeks of Rivers State have intensified pressure on both Governor Similaye Fubara and the marching army lawmakers loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to urgently resolve the lingering political crisis. Nigerians report that the two factions are set to meet at the government house in Port Harcourt at 10 a.m. today, March 10, 2025, following an official invitation from the Secretary to the State Government, Tami Danagogo. The invitation comes after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Army Will faction, recognizing them as a legitimate Rivers State House of Assembly. Militant threatening oil facilities over state governors. Findings by Business Day indicate that escalating threats from the creeks, where armed groups have been marching with rifles and threatening to bomb oil installations, have forced both sides to seek a political resolution. Some of these groups have vowed to shut down oil production if the political impasse persists, while counter groups have threatened to retaliate, rising fears of violent clashes. Already, the gas supply from 120 communities in the NLNG has dropped to 20%, while exports to foreign buyers have fallen to 40%. According to last week's Business Day report, security agencies have been placed on high alert as any outbreak of violence could have devastating economic and security implications for the state and the country at large. Fubara calls for calm, promises compliance with court orders. Governor Fubara has continued to appeal for peace, assuring Rivers residents that he remains committed to upholding the law. A government insider told Business Day that the meeting with the lawmakers aligned with Fubara's pledge to comply with the judicial rulings, as stated in his recent statewide broadcast. The source added that while some court cases remain at the appellate level, the governor is careful not to be accused of defying any legal directives. Source revealed that the top agenda for the meeting will include the release of withheld allocations of the 27 lawmakers, provisions of a proper venue for legislative sitting, and the laying of the 2025 budget before the assembly. The source disclosed that no government funds will be assessed until 2025 budget is repassed by the lawmakers. Until the budget is passed, nobody gets paid, the source stated. Lawmakers demand political trade-offs in play. Insiders say the lawmakers are pushing for key concessions, including dismissal of some commissioners, influence over the selection of a new local government chairman, and control over the conduct of the next local government selections. These and other headlines is what we brought to you this morning, and I hope I'm able to convince you, but not to confuse you, that Canada's what would I call it? Would I call it a bid, or would I call it an offer to work with the government of the United States of Biafra? Well, it's a welcome development if they can be trusted, but I know all these things are politics. You just want to lure Nigeria into giving you free gas and free crude oil, so that you will turn your back against the Biafrans. Anyway, I beg you to take a like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing for more interesting videos. I, Okulora, is here to serve you. Kiemesiano, my wonderful people.